Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our first finalist, the rank 1 Terran player in the world in the red. It's Clem, facing off against by far his greatest rival, the rank 1 Protoss in blue. We have a hero in a best of 5 Terran versus Protoss grand finals to the newest iteration of Pig's Weekly Cup. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. And we kind of the app for the Jimmy. Jimmy. 1,825 likes on this video, on this cast. I'll cast another one. Nope, probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I can do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than Clem's workers as the probe harassing them in the workplace. He sent the probe out at the beginning of the game to maximize both the emotional and physical damage. No other Protoss is so forward. No other Protoss finds nearly as much success, and the probe is locked in now, and eventually the Reaper will come out, even if the SCV doesn't finish it. Recalls out at the last second, and leaves him just some scars to remember him by. And it's not about whether it's economically advantageous, it's about the emotional damage. And when it comes to Hero, I'm being very literal. Hero, I believe in this tournament 2 weeks ago, beat Clem so hard, maybe it was Monday Night Weekly, that Clem played Protoss for over a week straight. Not just in Protoss versus Terran, but all the matchups. Jimmy probably already put the stats up, but Hero is now the rank 2 player of the world because Clem kind of tanked his rating a bit. He did not find a lot of success in the Clown Fiesta, the mental health crisis of Protoss versus Protoss. So back to Terran. And will he find more? It remains to be seen. But when it comes to Hero, the best plan is sometimes no plan at all, as it almost never survives contact with whatever's going on over there. So that first probe gets in, gets some damage done. Clem does not repair the SCVs. We'll see if that becomes relevant later. And for those more astute, more observant watchers, shout out by the way, it's a new map. We have a new map pool, a tentative map pool, as many of the community tournaments are using the new Team Liquid map contest maps. So, we're going to eventually have some new maps in the official ladder and tournament pool, but right now, whatever the community is interested in showcasing, and here, the name is Washout. I believe we're going to have a mix of both older, as in last season, and newer maps. And so far, it seems like ooh, we got a mixed base. Got some beautiful water features around the edge. A whole lot of space in between them. Some double rocks near the marine statue in the center. So it feels pretty large, which is maybe not physically true, but, well, sometimes the feeling is more important. A Reaper gets driven back. A medevac is on the way across. Clem boosting as quickly as possible to get there, and well before Blink could even pretend to be completed. There's a grand total of 3 Stalkers, as well as that Reaper to threaten, but he just gets into the main, already just dropping out. No Spylons to spot for this. They may just target the pylon itself. Slurps it all up and decides, you know what? I'd rather be elsewhere. Doesn't want to risk it. The fact that these Stalkers are still at home, Clem has successfully anchored those Stalkers back at home. At least if Hero is being a mildly rational individual this time around. Little waves. Okay. Water physics. What? Okay. Hero chrono boosting. How do you get it? Okay. I'm sorry, I had to mentally adjust to what I was watching. A very common occurrence, but a robotics bay on 2 base, a warp prism, this Colossus or Disruptor drop maybe? A Widowmon spotted in the middle of the map. The Reaper blunked upon. That Widowmon? Well, Hero, are you paying attention? The nervous blink there. That's object permanence might not be a strong suit. The Widowmine may be taken out by the Adept, but the army's coming in turn. There's a Colossus with extended thermal lance on the way, which a speed rivaling mine, and well, Clem has quite a dangerous army out of the field, but it is unupgraded Marines and a couple siege tanks. If Clem sieges those tanks, it becomes... Well, yeah, he's the most obvious observer. Knocks it out. Can't be letting him watch and picking his fight so easily, but the medevac already taking a lot of damage. He could just take it out. And a lot of the potential strength is already blunted, but double cloak Banshee slips into the natural. So despite the pretty intense rush distance between the bases, both players going for near full aggression. Hero just now taking a third Nexus. The Banshees in the main base just blunks right past the siege tanks, gets both of them. The Colossus will incinerate the rest of the Marines, try to target down a few more Stalkers, and actually loses some Stalkers in the main base. The shield batteries, they do nothing. He just times out the Banshee shots to go right through the shield battery. They have no time to heal them or reshield them. Protoss can never heal, emotionally or physically. But the shields, on the other hand, a single Banshee significantly less dangerous than when it's partnered up. So now what? Hero is down 6 workers, but he does have a third Nexus. So we can replace them quick. Oh, sure, yeah, just throw down a Shrine to Dark. Hero's greatest frenemy throughout StarCraft 2 history. Come back to a star. Maybe soon? Maybe a few months? I don't know. And no announcements, but... Anyways, I digress. I'll get too depressed. The Colossus drop. Why not? Well, he built another Banshee? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a second. Are we sure this isn't Thermal? You can't just keep building Banshees. But a bit of a whimsical opener here from Clem, and I do think it's... What? Does he think the Banshee spotted it? He cancels the Dark Shrine in a surprising display of uncertainty. Clem with a bulwark to zone out the Blink Stalkers. The siege tank is walling off the other siege tank, which... Yeah, you ever felt like that? Interpret that however you want. Observer speed is... He might think this is mech. Why would he though? Well... It's a rarity. Especially when Clem is involved. Maru's done a little more mech against Protoss, but... Speed Banshees are quite a threat, and there's no chance of Hero coming across the map. The Observer Speed isn't a bad upgrade to have, but certainly an interesting position. Where did that Colossus go? Did it walk home or something? He didn't lose a Colossus, right? No. There's been a lot of jousting. That small skirmish, well, relatively small. It was most of the units at the time, but pales in comparison to the potential danger of any follow-up here. I like these half and half bases. Half gold, half blue. I think the income is just marginally higher there. Now, mules do not mine more on gold minerals. Not since about 2010, which is about 2/3 of Clem's life ago. As that was a bridge too far. We also tried mules mining gas, which was a ridiculously broken week of the Legacy of the Void beta. At that point, we've just replaced everything with automation, and suddenly SCV is feeling almost entirely inadequate. So, the unions were strong enough to keep it together. And the fact that Protoss and Zerg... okay, it was just not a good idea. We'll leave it there. We do have plenty of time, as... I think we're getting the relatively standard exchange of players on a map that maybe they've never played before. Which is, first, I'm going to do some early aggression. Second, I'm just going to sit in my base. Sometimes one or the other, sometimes both. But not really a lot of mid-map engagements. Instead, just building up to that 200 supply army, and we'll figure it out from there. And there's a lot of space. I do think it's beautiful. I love it. Just aesthetically. So, washout. I believe PT stands for patches. And there's a character limit on maps, so easier to abbreviate. But... is the map creator. But I believe Wardy's hosting a map contest tournament in just a few weeks in April. So make sure to check them out there, and then you'll be able to vote. And your vote counts for a lot, because a lot of people like to complain, but not a lot of them like to participate in the democratic process of selecting maps, which you can translate to whatever you want, but usually there are only a few hundred votes as opposed to 1,000, despite thousands of people watching the tournament. So I challenge you to vote for maps that you might like to see, and Wow, that's a lot of charge loss, and that's a very dead. Hero's like 3 gold mineral patches, that's enough. All right, that's the one. We'll just take that base. There's so much space between them, but double Ruptor production and zealots all throughout. He knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. So trying to light it up however he can. Building up. And we've made it to 200 supply despite the early shenanigans, the back and forth. Both players relatively easily maxed out with money in the bank and like 4 or 5 bases. Clem is taking his 4th. Hero has 5. That's it for now. I feel like we're not going to stop there. The army values are almost, well, Heroes is slightly less costly. He is very heavy on the zealots. 26 zealots. Charging forward. It actually catches him the bunker. I don't know if it's helping or hurting there for Clem, but the Colossi, the natural predator of missile turrets and sensor towers, which is most of what they hit throughout this. A few Vikings coming out. Disruptor around the corner. Finds empty air, but comes in again. Hero gonna go forward. Blinks on the tanks. A bold move. But unfortunately, that caps lock is not enough. The Vikings are chasing down. Fadeaway shot with the Ruptor. And the Banshees are still alive, by the way, as Hero is juggling his Colossi across the map. Manages to evade the Vikings for now. Clem has 2 starports pumping out medevacs and Vikings simultaneously. Hero has 2 robotics facilities, so he's not no slouch on the more advanced production. Is that Disruptor walled in, or is it just chilling? I don't know how it could be walled in. The only way Hero walls is accidentally. But the Banshees are back! Just an there's no, okay, there's the observer. He even has speed for those observers. Hero he has a control group for 5 stalkers, and for a bunch of his buildings. The rest of the units, they just find their own methods. Clem has not spotted either of the bases along the eastern front, which I feel this map is so large and the vibe is so almost realistic that we got to use cardinal directions. All right, Clem to the southwest. Fortifying his front line. The siege tanks looking down upon anything in front of them. And, well, technically they can look in any direction. It's not directional. But that is much unlike the Liberator, who can only zone a certain amount of space, though the non-Terrans might argue it's too large, and the Terrans say it's never large enough. A fusion core is in production. 2-2 upgrades about complete. Ship weapons level 1 as well. Hero is maxed out. He's incinerating the rocks and opening up more paths to throw his dozens upon dozens, maybe hundreds upon hundreds of units at Clem, who's at 200 supply. 95 probes against 74 SCVs, which means the army supply is obviously significantly larger for Clem, but the income right now is, well, 4,700 minerals and 1,000 gas a minute for Hero. 38. About 3,000 and 1,200 for Clem. So that is 47 zealots per minute that he could throw into the front line. But a Venn diagram of freedom is choking off the 3rd base. And Clem actually looking to chase. Another volley comes up short, and he's just filling in. He's just queuing up Nexi around the entire 7 bases and 2 Stargates in production. At kind of a curious base, but Hero, he's showcased recently that he's willing to go high when it's clear he can no longer go low, in kind of a technological epiphany that we've rarely seen from Hero, but realizing that at some point it becomes effectively impossible to break a Terran in a way that doesn't leave you potentially open to a game-losing counterattack. Now, he doesn't always choose to partake in that strategy, and that's part of the genius slash ignorance. Maybe a little of both. But he body blocks out the Vikings around the corner, tries to land a disruptor hit, and those rocks feeling very uncomfortable. Yes, they have feelings too. No. A fleet beacon is on the way, as Hero puts Stargate Command together along the east side at the 3 o'clock position. The Nexus, them realizing now, another base right down the center. So 5 bases relatively easily taken. Advanced ballistics isn't quite done. No, you can't know. Well, there's just 1 siege tank kind of awkwardly placed on the high ground here. Beautiful fountain, blocking everything off. Hero clearly gonna slam this base with everything he has. And by that I mean Well, Clem already preemptively backs off. The Warp Prism doesn't quite see this, but the rest of the army will have no issues. The upgrades continue to creep upwards. 3-3 is about to complete for Clem. Hero has already finished +3 weapons, has to dodge his own disruptor shots with the Zealots, but more danger balls are trundling across the map. One very dead SCV, the command center trying to land, another army around the right side, though I don't think Clem realized it was taking that path. A mothership and 3 Tempests are in production, as Hero takes to the skies to compete with Clem's Liberation and his Vikings. Hero has not been too reliant on the Colossi, but he always seems to have them, which is very important. The threat of them, disruptors, and he just goes back and forth. The screwball disruptor shots, not quite enough. Another one comes up empty, and, well, the mixed base to the center will be taken out, leaving Hero with just 8 Nexi. He's got 11 more gateways. He's going to have 21 gateways. 3 Stargates. Weapons of mass production from Hero. Up against Clem. Well, Clem is no slouch. He's got 3 starports with reactors. He has 8 barracks, and there's also a factory, but we usually ignore that. Obviously, he's been a little more cost-effective. 14,000 to 8,000 resources lost, but still not really critical damage. Disruptor shot, hits him with a hard curveball and slams it home. Another shot, and somehow these harpoon-style attacks are actually working. But the Stargates are vulnerable to a direct attack. Hero, why is it here? Why are your Stargates in the most direct attack path for intimidation? So the most important pieces of Hero's tech will just be casually destroyed by Clem, giving him not only... Oh, there's a mothership. So Hero has 21 gates, but still is somehow unable to spend his money, which... That's a classic Gates issue. But, well, the Liberators, he actually warped in dozens of stuff. This pylon is powering literally his entire game right now. Artosis would be proud if he was capable of such emotions. Meanwhile, and probably not proud of Protoss. Maybe in StarCraft too. A cinematic of Zealots is warped in. Managed to throw a sentry in there. His Guardian Shield could have exponential value. Right now, this is a Sky Terran composition, pretty much, out of Clem. Massive Viking Liberator against charge lots, which feels like a 2 ships passing in the night. Well, 1 ship passing in the sky and the other ship under the sea. Or underneath. A land ship, if you would. Moving on. Cannons zoning out both big... Hero is still mining relatively comfortably. EMP slant... Well, EMP doesn't do much against the mothership, and now the mothership not doing much in the units lost tab. There's 6 Liberators, 16 Vikings. A whole Scandinavia of Vikings here. There's no Storm, there's no Templar of any kind out of Hero. He's just trying to come forward. But, oh, liberation is at hand. Hero keeps warping literally dozens of units. But Clem has more than enough to stop him for... Really trying to take this Nexus again? Well, the Liberator's coming up, the Stalkers taking them down. The Vikings just easily taking out the Colossi, but there's really not much... There's just not any units. Hero, who's the Zerg now? Hero with... He's now lost 31,000 to 17,000 resources. He never rebuilt the Stargates. It almost feels like he wanted to lose. I know. He's not planning in advance. Arguably. Clem scans both bases to the north. Hero is a planetary, and the entire Protoss army just goes up the center. He still has 5,400 in the bank, but only 500 gas, which definitely could become relevant. The army value right now is 5,300 and only 1,000 gas against 5,735. And Clem, of course, well, Hero gets the shield stripped away. The army fighting in the most awkward possible engagement angle. Dozens more Zealots are slaughtered. And Hero rotates around again, but this planetary... Another wave! And here we go. The Liberation is coming up. And oh no, he's target firing, but here comes Clem. Try to turn it around. Another wave. The Liberation drives him out. But I think Clem, it's time to go forward. He's got 200 supply, even though it might not look it. He's got 68 SCVs, leaving him with a huge army. But The liberation is far too much until the Zealots, in a miscued time. Oh, there's a Liberator zoning out this base. Hero down to 78 probes and dropping one at a time as the Liberator dropping plenty of shots. The Ghosts will cloak, and the Zealots just kind of evaporate, as Ghosts are actually really good with a bonus against light to dealing with literally hundreds of charge lots. A fleet beacon on the way again. Heroes lost 142 Zealots. And it's just the beginning. Another wave. Hero knocks down. The Vikings hit the deck. The Liberators are taken out. But even just a few turrets and a sensor tower, as Hero refuses to lay off the gas, even though his army barely costs any. The Vikings badly bruised. This is a Ghost Viking Liberator army. There's only a handful of Marauders and only a few Marines. This base is not taken. Hero, did he take this base, or does he just not notice it exists? And he's getting dangerously close to the sort of bank that is becoming concerning, as Clem now has 10 orbital commands, though we might get one knocked down in a moment. Hero's just chasing yet another wave. Force fields on the SCVs, but it's still a horrible angle. The Liberator sieged up again. Hero's in the main base with 4 Stalkers. Hero manages to hit 120 supply. There's a bunker still at the 3rd with the building armor upgrade / extra bunker space, which rarely seen, but actually kind of factoring it. More disruptors, more charge lots. He has 3 disruptors and 30 charge lots. This is not a great counter to 11 Liberators, believe it or not. In my so humble and so modest opinion. That's going to make dealing with the Liberator somewhat difficult because he has literally no anti-air. Hero, it seemed like he had a direction with the Tempest. And then the Stargates died, and so did Hero's common or uncommon sense. That's a slow warp. He does not... The Stargates don't count for super pylons. The fast warping. And Clem at 50,000 to 25,000. He has lost 2 bases more of resources, just about. The Liberators, +3 ship weapons, and eventually knocks down the Liberator. The Zealots roaming around. He's got cannons absolutely everywhere, but Clem unleashes a volley of scans, a solar flare. The Disruptors, there's not even much of a ground army to hit anymore. It's Sky Terran, really exploiting the fact that Hero, he has a quota of Stargates he's allowed to build per game, and that quota was reached, and no, just because they died doesn't mean it matters. And this is more like it. Here comes Clem. Just 11 Liberators, 11 Vikings, 200 supply. The mothership shows up. Probably regrets being here at all, but Hero just recalled to the other side of the map in an attempted base trade. The mothership is hiding in the corner with the probes. He's trying to base... How many bases has he actually killed? 1 command center. After 24 minutes, he has destroyed a command center. It's not enough. The Liberators. He kills the planetary. What will it cost? Everything. Every single unit. Every single zealot, of which there were what, 272? 256 zealots. Well, Clem and Hero, and he showed. Sometimes it feels like Hero has a stroke of genius, and sometimes it feels like just a stroke. Definitely coming in a bit over par on that one. Hero. But if there's any player who can bounce back from such a trial and tribulation of that loss, well, it's unclear whether Hero... The only time it seems like he knows what the score of the series is when he's winning. And he decides to just whip out the most unlikely / untenable build in order to keep the series going for the entertainment value. to maximize ad revenue and likes and subscribes. And good games. What is the gas first? Anyways, winter madness indeed. Hero. Hero. Allowing Clem to showcase a true... I love the look of that last map. And I think if Hero had built his Stargates, like, anywhere that wasn't in a direct attack path of the Terran army, then it would have been quite a dramatic late game. But... Game 2. So he went gas first, which is less common with Protoss, as the timing is usually... I'm interested to see where we're going. It does feel intentional, like it is some sort of method to the madness. Somewhat puns intended here. But it's worth noting. Why noted? Meanwhile, Clem is on the other side, obviously. And you know what's even more noteworthy? No probe. He didn't send a probe out to tase the SCVs, do a little bit of laser tonguing to start off the day. So, he's got something is planned. Which sounds weird to say, but something in the Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss that Hero continually perfects. Very interested to see what. The Reaper is I think the Reaper is suspicious because there wasn't a probe. He's scouring a Twilight Council, which in and of itself, not weird, not crazy. But again, and he put the second pylon on the high ground. Not as part of the natural. That's also a curious play. Yes, I'm reading dramatically into it, because just that gas first is a departure from even the semi-normalcy. You know, that pylon may have just solved... That pylon eating a shot and distracting the Reaper for a second almost got it killed, but a perfect grenade out of Clem. Blink is on the way. I'd be so disappointed if this is just a... I mean, it is an obscenely fast blink. Fastest possible blink cheese. Maybe actually? So usually blink is done right around 4:30, 4:40. And being just 10 or 15 seconds earlier can sometimes get you a medevac or help you pick off anything early. Clem, I don't know if that was just a fortuitous timing or just readying for the medevac, but uprooting the Widow Mine before the Phoenix could draw it in. Not that that was the intent of either side, but Blink being chrono boosted religiously here. That's not a super pylon! You do need a warp gate or a nexus nearby, which Hero more loosely committing to. Stalker's warped in, and the classic bait and switch here. Hero completely distracted by a single Hellion and a Reaper, and the drop is able to unload relatively safely. That Hellion is still also here. The medevac, he extracts literally everything. Huh. Well, maybe it was just for the center. Anyways, that's a lot of Stalkers, though. He has 10 Stalkers. There's a Liberator follow-up. And the Liberator is very good. But the problem here is Hero actually has a ton of units. 10 Stalkers, and there's only the one Siege Tank. He's got another one on the high ground. The bunker's about to complete. Is there an Observer? Guardian Shield. And right past, right on top of the tank. He gets 2 shots off, which is more than I could maybe expect, but now the main base. The Liberator's working its way across and could get some just dragging some of the warp-ins to the other side of the map and undercutting the momentum of the push. He's got his third base on the way. Liberator waiting for his moment. Clem has it hotkeyed. I assume it's not on actual 0, but the blank on top of the bunker, and we'll just take it out. And now things get a little more complicated. The siege tank on the high ground, but Hero knows that's a strong possibility. Just sieges up right on top. The probes not reacting. Oh no! Nobody gets into the main. Oh, bloodbath! Massacre on both sides. Widowmine's doing terrible, terrible damage. The Liberator kills 6 probes. Hero, he blocked into the main. But it looks like a bit more of a wait. No, he rotates around again. He drew the Marines in. Blinks on top of the siege tank. Physically blocks the SCVs from repairing. He's got to go forward because there's almost no home to go back to. But he's doing enough damage to even things out and maybe even draw into an economic lead, especially considering the third base is already nearly completed. Hero slipping and sliding and blinking and stumbling and picking himself back up. And when the smoke clears, such as it is. Don't tease me again, Hero. I mean, you can if you'd like. But, a Dark Shrine. Now, if you didn't watch that series, it has, I believe, the thumbnail we settled on, according to the analytics. In case you're wondering why the thumbnails are so ridiculous, usually, we try several. All right? I don't know why we're going into this now, but just because it's a unique one is why. But the one that does the best and gets people watching for the longest is the one that stays for a while. If you're like, well, I like the other one, well, you're special. But the majority usually prefer the others. Anyways, I digress. It has a tier list of Clem rage quitting against Hero doing like random ass DT builds almost every game. Which is why I was so surprised he canceled at the last one. But a Dark Shrine is on the way. And Hero, Clem is not in a great position to either go Raven or save up scans. This is a precarious spot. And DT Blink, why not? It's a very uncomfortable position because your army is still good. But only if it's all together. You know they likely have charge. They have blink. You can't really split your army into smaller groups or they'll just get picked apart. But at the same time, if you move out, well then, that's when they move in. Their third command center is done. There's Spylons looking for all this, Hero. A Dark Temple. Oh, does he see it? Clem? Did he? Oh, he saw it! Oh! He even saw it! But a split second too late! And now there's a DT on the tanks! There's a DT in the main! But the tanks are the most important pickup here! He gets 2! And the SCV's on the run! Hero! Like the block device Dark Templar so often are. Slips in and completely eviscerates Clem's chances of maintaining economic parity or emotional stability. Oh no, it's a disaster. Hero with the surgical Templar. And this time around... Wait, does he have DT Blink? He doesn't. There's 2 DTs here that almost die incidentally. Targets down the center. So there is still the risk. Yeah, okay, well, this DT Blink, it saves a couple Dark Templar. Clem has a better army. But if he doesn't have the scans, he doesn't. He doesn't even have 1 scan right now. So he can't actually fight because there's always going to be another Dark Templar. Oh, this is such a frustrating position for Terran, which is most of them. But Hero has manipulated this perfectly. The tanks were the bigger pickup than the SCVs even. Now there's no real... you can't move out. So he's going to have to sit back and try to turtle up. It's already too late for Clem to move out. It's just a reality of the matchup that Terran cannot divide easily and conquer against a competent or at least aggressive Protoss. But when they sit back defensively, as I don't think I need to explain after we watched that whole last game, it's a lot harder for the Protoss to break. Hero's at 78 probes. He's got 1-1 done against just +1 attack. Clem. He's just building. He's pretty much accepted, I think. He's trying to chase down Dark Templar individually. The army, for some reason, was all the way up to the north side. I don't know what he was... I think there was a medevac at some point. More DTs. Don't go outside. Gotta be back by nightfall. Wait, different mission. A cannon. The fact that he has this base at all. It's a disaster. Clem's like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Hero is... This is not the same scenario. The force fields, emotional support fields, they make Clem mildly uncomfortable. But there's a warp prism. I think he may have spotted it with a Widow Mine, or at least some of the zealots. Another Dark Templar will be chased down, but another scan. There's nothing in the main. He doesn't have the turrets. He doesn't have the infrastructure. And guess what? Hero's right down the center. The first goes. Oh, no. He blinks the DTs by. They'll eat some Widowmon hits. Warps into the main. Retreats down the center as the Terrans chasing him down. But there are zealots and DTs absolutely everywhere. Clem's entire base is coming apart at the seams. And it seems like Hero has struck back with a vengeance. And for the first time against Hero in a couple series, we see a couple Gs. I think he GG'd like 2 out of 4 games. Last one, but... Hero with the casual Dark Templar. The perfect timing. And, well, we're all tied up. I didn't expect anything less. And I have learned not to expect anything more. I just expect just right. I mean, that was really... I don't... We're all tied up. Hero, once again, finding... a immaculate Dark Templar timing, and Clem just completely unable to regain any sort of momentum. Despite having a pretty solid early game, it becomes undone so quickly. In Hero, there goes the probe. We'll gas first again. Is that just the build and I never pay attention? We'll see. But the probe sent out first. That most devious of creatures. There is no other unit in the game that I think, like the unit to stress ratio of a probe. Not gas first, by the way. The unit to stress ratio, aka like, sure, Dark Templar or Widow Mines or Liberators are stressful. But one probe can do so much. One probe can win a game on its own. There's few other units that can do so. So just that probe existing, the fact it can regen those shields after laser tonguing so many workers, just constant annoyance. And even if it isn't stress or anxiety for getting damage done, it's spite and fury. And he's gives him a tap on the shoulder. You thought you were safe. He did it again, Sarge. It's okay, Billy. It's okay. Your health insurance covers 50% of your HP. But that doesn't seem like 100%. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry, we'll replace you with a mule. That's not really what I was worried about. Hero, the probe, slips by. A Reaper's on the way out. SCV Scout. Well, maybe learning his lesson. After all this. Honestly, the Terran's not SCV Scouting at all. I have no sympathy. I don't think you need to scout at the beginning of the game, but getting just that little bit of extra info. Like, are they getting a cyber core before their next? Do they have a pylon somewhere they can build a shield base? These little things that, if you don't see it early, leaves you with a potentially game-losing disadvantage later. Just in order to cut that corner and get maybe like 4% more economy. And then the Reaper comes in and kills a probe, which, not great. He's gonna bounce it. Somehow that probe was the only one not hit. Dances around again. The Stalker is coming across the map. We just walk by. There's only one Marine in that bunker. Surprised. Now, he can't know that there's a reactor on the way. This is actually pretty greedy out of Clem. To build a reactor, he built the bunker, put one Marine in it. Also notable that Clem built a bunker at all, but there could be more Marines trickling in. Like 2-3 Marines in there, and suddenly he's going to be losing the Stalkers. But if he knew for a fact that reactor was building, he definitely would have walked by. Made life much more difficult. There's a Twilight. Blink is on the way. Of course. The huge. Did he... No, the Reaper did not see it. Somehow it got out after the murder of the probe. And Clem, a little suspicious. A Cyclone is definitely more of a hedging your bets option. The Widowmine drops are the lowest cost to potential benefit ratio against early Blink, as you can get the medevac in before Blink is done, and you have units that can kill probes quickly. The Cyclone is a lot more gas invested than a single Widowmine, obviously. So it slows down the rest of your tech a bit. But if you think they might be going Stargate, it's not like you can't do damage. It's just kind of the siege tanks and the rest of your build are slowed down just a bit. And it's less effective against Blink Stalkers because of that. Also takes up so much space in the medevac. Gotta jostle everyone around. Well, drops in. Blink still 20 seconds out. And Clem gonna kill several probes to start. Picks up. He knows the time. I mean, honestly, Clem might know Protoss timing significantly better than Hero is. Clem, arguably the best Protoss versus Terran player in the game. I'm just leaving Hero out. Of course, that's because Clem doesn't have to play against Clem. So, the Stalkers trundling across. No third base yet. Getting a Warp Prism out of the robotics facility. He's got 4 gates as well. So, definitely looking to get a bit more aggressive as Hero. The bunker going to be quite a stopgap. The siege tank is deep in the main. Definitely anticipating the he doesn't know how many gates, but he might suspect it. Even a Raven early. So a very defensive posture out of Clem. And Hero is going to be attacking into that posture. That doesn't mean it can't do damage, but it means Clem is 100% prepared. Is that enough? What's he got in there? A single Zealot to draw tank fire, I assume. And the War Prism, here it comes. Eats the tank hit, blinks it right afterwards. But that one supply depot actually helping out a ton. And Clem pulls the boys preemptively. There's a few Marines and Marauders. Ghetto blinking back now. But he's got a foothold with those little dainty stalker toes. 3 SCVs dead. Gets the Raven. Loses a couple more Stalkers, but picking off the Raven and a few more Marines, that's still a lot of Stalkers. No, the third Nexus just started for Hero. But he's going to rotate around again. Blinking. Eating the shots. Juggling back. Gets forward. That's going to be a lot of damage. Oh, loses a couple more Stalkers. And Hero is starting to drop heavily in supply. And this is all before the triple threat. The stim, the combat shield, the +1. Cyclone gets taken out trying to chase down the Prism. And, well, Hero's gone down this road. And he's now just accelerating. That's the only choice. Clem trying to turn it. And it doesn't get much easier for Hero. As once stim and combat shield are done, it gets a lot harder to pick off these Marines. The Marauders just sharking around again. The War Prism, Hero's down 30 supply. There's charge on the way. It's still just 4 gateways. And it's at the point where it seems like Clem has enough units back at home with reinforcements to stop the Stalkers. And without charge is only halfway done. These are slow. These are just Zealots. They're just gonna walk menacingly at them and probably get gunned down before they get even close. Oh no. A recall of the Stalkers. Drags out a Widowmine hit. Make that 2. The Stalkers will unceremoniously die. The single Immortal caught in the crossfire, trying to go forward, targets some of the Marauders, and he's tearing him apart. It's a disaster. Hero attacked directly into Clem's most defensive anti-blink setup. And for a few moments, it looked like it might be enough. But Clem, that little supply depot he added, I think just tripped up Hero for long enough. And now, the Clempire strikes back. Here, Clem is on match point. A solid defense. Hero with a relatively vanilla blink all-in. And just gets slapped down with relative ease. He just committed. Ooh, what is this? A new map? Gimme. Clem. Up 2-1. We're on Storm Push, which is something Hero has yet to use, but I wouldn't put it past him to decide this was the map to open up with the Templar, just for, you know, cinematic sake on Storm Push. We will see, though. Definitely a little bit smaller. You can tell by the way it is. Isn't that neat? Wait, what is happening here? Can you walk there? There is, like, water? Like a sewage pipe tunnel thing? Oh, it's like a storm drain. I get it. I assume you can walk. Kind of gross, probably, but... Huh. Well, we'll see. Nobody's sending out the workers, so we can't see what's gonna happen. Otherwise, looking for any gold bases or rich Vespine. Relatively standard. The main base kind of awkwardly shaped with... It's somewhat tucked in, which actually makes it easier to defend against Blink Stalkers. The implications of how the main base is set up usually determines how bad it is, or how difficult it is to deal with Blink Stalkers. Alright, we're gonna see it. SCV Scout. Gonna get its feet wet. Wait, what? Is that a speed? What? Whoa! Are those speed zones? Wait, what? They're directional speed zones? What am I watching? Wild. Oh, this is... Somebody's gonna get screwed by that. I don't know. So, they're actually... The flow of the water is relevant. Oh, pro players are gonna hate this. Now that is something. So, Storm Push is quite literal. We're the center of the map. And I'm not sure that factors into the path. Well. Huh. Interesting. Now, well, we'll see. Did the Reaper spot the Stargate? It did. He knows. Hero may just avoid this issue entirely by taking to the skies. Meanwhile, 2 more barracks on the way. As Clem clearly spooling up for a bio, effectively all in, more than likely. The Reaper, jarking around, maybe more accurate than usual. I wonder if it'd be, well, there is no attack. I guess you can go up the ramps on each side. Huh. Are there any other spots like this? No, the aesthetic is pretty crazy, but I think we've seen too many. It's an interesting twist on the gray space station tile set, which is a classic. Oracle, gonna make that Reaper very dead. Recharged it as well. Is it recharged if it never had the energy in the first place? Hashtag Velocito. Wait, does the Oracle move? No. Should be fine. The wind currents, something. Phoenix on the way. Obviously he knows about the Oracle. Now it's up to Clem to determine... Oh, I really want to see charge lots chasing down in this area. He's got charge on the way as well. Hero going with the Star Charge build. Phoenixes in order to pick apart any sort of, well, usually medevacs or cyclones or even siege tanks. And then the charge lots to do what they do best. Pretty much the only thing they do. Charge. Bob? My wife for hire. Okay, Bob. Say it. Does she charge a lot? No, actually, no. Points for effort. Proxy, more than likely gate. As Hero does have a third Nexus on the way. He's still building probes. Is Clem gonna pull the boys? Yeah, right? Correctly anticipating there won't be any splash damage, at least of the conventional sense. He's not pulling SCVs, which I find a bit curious. Now, there are 6 zealots against 48 army supply. So, Hero's going to need absolutely everything. The morale. Taking the pathing off to the side. There's a stasis. The Cyclone gets caught, which is a little unfortunate. And he can pick up the siege tank. He's just going for the Marines because the tanks aren't sieged. And can undercut this push. And without the SCVs, I was wondering why I didn't bring them. And now Clem might be wondering the same. Well, then he just wins the fight. Okay. But there's barely anything left over. Recharges the Phoenixes. A badly bruised tank. And with no medevacs, he can't easily trade. Every stim is permanent damage. So, right now, Hero trying to bait him out. Here are the boys! Better late than never. Oh, no. Sarge, I think we messed up. Shh. Ugh, I got it in my mouth. The SCVs are finally here, but the Phoenix is helping pick this apart. The charge lots almost gets the siege tank, but the SCVs may be turning the tide. As, well, almost no zealots left. He has 4 gateways worth, but he's still building Phoenixes, and they're still recharging energy. The boys hold a little bit late, but maybe just in time. A Widowmon is mixed in. The SCV is doing so much to just buffer the damage. And the probes! Of course! Gonna drag in the Widowmon hits right on top of the tank. Oh, it's so much damage. That the Phoenix is picking up and knocking down the Marines. A bunker is on the way. And things are escalating dramatically now. Oh, chasing it down. Hero at the skin of his non-existent Protoss teeth, barely holding. And of course, he built these gateways in the only position he can get all his production cut off. The bunkers are done. And Hero is in dire straits now. Multiple Widowmons, the bunkers. This pylon's gonna depower more of his production. Hero is sliding through the storm drain, chasing all this. No, you can't turn. It doesn't work like that. The charge slot's wading through the current in order to chase across. Hero decides to go for something resembling a base trade. There's an Archon on the way. There's almost nothing back at home. The door is shut in his face. The charge is kind of wasted here. And Hero will never give up and never surrender. The SCV stop position. Just picking some up. He's going to knock down the medevacs as well relatively easily. That Widow Mine. Does he get the pickup? No! But the Widow Mine unburrows. Maybe giving another opportunity. Just knocks it down. 9 more SCVs dead. So, Hero has undercut the economy. And are we just gonna... Is he just gonna go home? Oh no. He's gonna chase him into the sewers. And the charge lots at ludicrous speed. The Archons as well push forward. You can't turn around. Oh no! He's pushed into it! Oh, it worked! It happened! The entire army was pushed in! And now the charge lots... Oh, wow. Yeah. But it actually all came together. Hero has concocted the Rube Goldberg machine of scenarios required in order to actually watch these Storm Drain have a game-changing effect. And I think that was enough. Like, that now he just lifts up. He's lifting up the Marines, because with no more anti-air, he just easily takes out the siege tank. He's inside the base, and Hero ties it up. 2-2. I was saying, I hoped, I dreamed. My dreams became reality. And Clem, you know, the intense salt content as he watched those Marines and Marauders, probably realizing that, like, I'm sure he knew. He saw the movie before. He knew what it was about. But, oof. Hero using the terrain in a way that so rarely factors into StarCraft 2. But that brings us, of course, to game number 5. On it. Oh, wow, beautiful. Avex is back. Avex, one of the map makers who makes and has over the history of StarCraft, who made some of the most beautiful maps, finding new ways to I'm completely blanking on maps that have been in the pool. He's won the Team Liquid map contest multiple times. Finding new ways to make kind of an old look new again. And I've never seen anything quite like this. Black Rock is the name of the map. Despite the severe like a volcanic sort of tribal what's going on? Maybe literally. I don't know. Black Rock grunts. You know, you know. Welcome to Red Ridge Mountain. I don't yeah, actually. Welcome to the world of Warcraft. Hydralisk skulls on spikes. Well, we're going the distance yet again. Yet again, Hero has fought his way back. This time around, Clem came to play. He looked real tilted in that series. Against Hero not too long ago. But Clem probably one of the most, if not the most vulnerable players to that sort of swing. Hero also a player that swings back and forth, but like in a fun way. As opposed to a... Why are there so many cows? I thought there was no cow level. What's up with this? You see all those cows? Can't see them unless somebody else is looking at them, alright? As observers, the cows don't exist until one of the players is nearby. That'll be easier to get the cheese then, I guess. Fills you with determination. Huh. There's so many destructible... All the little icons on the map are destructible rocks or rock towers, where you can drop more rocks. Here on Black Rock. Rock. A whole lot of trees and vision blockers here. Not always one and the same, but quite literally. So beautiful. Literally reminds me of... I'm pretty sure it's at least loosely based on the World of Warcraft. So, I mean, the inspiration is there. Or the theme. This feels like a campaign mission vibe. Overlap in the tile sets of like the grass and the flower. I think that's actually 3 tile sets, maybe 4. And have all blended. Which we didn't used to be able to do something quite so detailed, but there's a lot going on. Like, I feel like playing Zerg on this map would be a nightmare. And also Sacrilege, covering it with creep. But essentially Zerg prefer Iowa. A wide open field with no high ground. Just the closer we get to a wide open field, the better it is for Zerg. The overwhelming majority of the time. Here I found some destructible rocks. It's like they're connected. Gonna knock them down. So, once again, we're back to the standard play on new maps they haven't played before. Just sit back and do your build. Okay, not anything crazy. Don't want to risk... Is that an oracle? Okay, never mind. You built... Look! Wait. Those are sheep. Trying to blend in with the cows. Not a ridiculous thing that sheep would be near where cows are, actually, but I digress. Never mind, we're back. Indeed, I can't click on it. A whole herd out there. There's another one. It's also sheep. So many. And there's the grunt. Now, I think grunts will be pretty good against hydras. Maybe you need to do some more casts of the Warcraft 3 versus StarCraft 2 mod, which is a lot of fun, but I think is so ludicrously difficult to balance that, aside from a few show matches, players mostly not huge fans of it. That seems to be where he landed. And it doesn't have the sort of following that the SC Evo, the SC1 versus SC2 mod does. Because, well, Brood War is essentially a religion in Korea. So anything that gets close to it. In fact, from my understanding, the SC Evo stuff is more popular than StarCraft 2 content in Korea for the most part. And I'm pretty sure it's not even close. Now, not nearly as popular as Brood War itself, which has been going strong for longer than Clem's been alive, but what a nice peaceful... Has anything died? No.
Fueled up, ready to go.
Yeah, I read you, sir. Hero took down the rocks and is now opening it up, which, I mean, it makes sense to make it more difficult to rush across early and then deal with it later. Can you blink up there? It feels like you should be able to put a siege tank or something up there. A decent amount of space. Usually map makers will put these sort of rocks to indicate you can't blink or put anything up there, but we'll see. So Hero will now open the aggression with the blink and microing back. A nice clean kill on the bunker. Despite the very interesting map, an incredibly generic progression here for Clem and relatively simple for Hero, though. No, don't do it. Okay. That is so clearly not going to happen. A Raven added in. Helpful, deals with the stasis. The Blink Stalker's trying to duel with the tank push. Can he... Does he... Clem is ferrying his tanks over because they're too dummy thick to get through that choke point. The entire army's strung out, filtered through. The siege tank, the bulwark really zoning out here, but the entire army, Hero completely missed it. As Clem ferries his army through, we'll make it through the path, the canyon down the center, and no, oh no, Hero's gonna be on the wrong side of history here. This base is not gonna happen. The sentry is the one going through the canyon pass. Guardian Shield is activated. There's no units nearby. Oracle also lit up. Units are by their side. But I feel like the terrain helping the Terran more than anything else. Clem putting the eye in terrain here and making sure the blink is his last. Sounded profound. Now, Hero, it's not a total loss. He lost his 4th base, most of his army. But he still has more workers. He's got 2-1 upgrades started against just +1 and +1 armor on the way. And Clem just now finishing his 3rd command center. So, it was not great, but it wasn't too terrible. Thing is, Clem didn't really lose any economy to the Blink Stalkers. Still has a decent amount of medevacs, to the point that he could consider adding Liberators or Vikings if he thinks he needs them. The Zealots will slip by, get 1 Marauder, a few SCVs. To some damage, but it's costing him the charge lots here. And Clem manipulating those SCVs, minimizing the damage. Ooh, a waterfall. Ooh, also the Zealots died, but that was more... Blink Stalkers come back around with the siege tank slamming into him. 7 SCVs dead. Hero trying to nickel and dime Clem back and forth across the map. But the momentum... Oh, he's going for the rocks! He's gonna drop. Well, ooh, the pathing. Oof. And wait, is that like a hard wall? There's just a set of. Honestly, navigating the map is more difficult than fighting the army, which so far that's favored hero overall, as we saw in the storm drain. But look, why are they all there? There's so many cows, and also that one sheep. A sheep in cow's clothing. Yep, those are zealots. He spots the main army. Everybody kind of working their way out. More cows, by the way, also here. Just actually kind of filtering the Protoss. Oh, no, it's a disaster. That's not nearly enough from hero. That is not even close. +2 attack finishes as the entire army dies. A Dark Shrine starts, but it reeks of desperation as opposed to dastardly deeds for undercutting Clem. 40 supply is the gap. And there's absolutely nothing to stop this army from just smashing the 4th base. Clem, he's gonna clean up the counterattack. He's going to obliterate the 4th base. And there's almost nothing stopping him from carrying that through. Hero sent everything else across the map. But these bases won't be traded. The SCVs might die, but the probes almost all will. The 2nd base taken down. There's no disrupt. He's trying to wait out the Dark Shrine, I guess, but it's not going to be enough. Not this time. Clem has 3 orbital commands. I don't know if he's intentionally saving scans, but the Dark Shrine is a day late and way too many dollars short. Hero will fight, really? 40 supply! I bet Clem's wondering why. There's also a sentry. Sentry's finding curious ways to be strung out here. There's another base in the bottom right corner, another beautiful location. GG! Clem in a relatively one-sided game on a beautiful new map will fight back. And for the first time in several series, defeat hero. It wasn't easy. It was a tumultuous foray. It was a difficult exploration of the new maps. There were ups and downs. Hero unable to tilt Clem enough to keep him away from a victory. That's how I'm going to phrase it. And we'll stop phrasing things before I say something more dumb. But thank you for watching. Make sure to look out for the Team Liquid map contest. It's not up yet. We're just checking out the new maps, so make sure to share your opinions. And I'll let you know the next couple weeks when you can vote on your favorites, because it's kind of relevant to you. Because they're going to be the maps you see. Assuming you're watching and you don't just have it in the background or you're blind, but shout out to the blind viewers, as always, kind of have to. But thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon, YouTube membership. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons, Big Jig, Devin, Dor, Kate, Mario, Stu. Glad you still enjoy, but your liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. Make sure to check out this video Jimmy picked out just for you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.